In the glitz and glare of Hollywood, secrets can hide in plain sight. Behind the cameras, the red carpets and the million-dollar smiles, some of the most beloved black stars carried a truth the world didn't know, until now. These are the trailblazers, the quiet fighters, and the history makers who lived their truth in silence or chose their moment to speak. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on 10 black celebrities whose private lives will forever change the way you see them.
Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah, born Dana Elaine Owens on March 18, 1970, in Newark, New Jersey, has carved out a legacy built on versatility, resilience, and cultural influence. She emerged in 1989 with her groundbreaking debut album All Hail the Queen, becoming one of the first female rappers to command mainstream respect in a male-dominated genre. From the very start, her music carried a message of empowerment and self-worth, themes that would echo throughout her career. But while her talent and accomplishments have always been on full display, her personal life, especially her sexuality, has remained wrapped in mystery. Unlike many celebrities, Latifah has never made a formal statement about her sexual orientation. Instead, she's made it clear that she won't let speculation define her, telling interviewers she doesn't owe the world an explanation for her private choices. That quiet refusal has made her an enigmatic figure in LGBTQ+ discourse, someone whose influence comes not from declarations, but from the way she lives her life. Over the years, she's been romantically linked to women, most notably choreographer Ebony Nichols, with whom she's been spotted publicly since at least 2013. And in 2021, while accepting the BET Lifetime Achievement Award, Latifah ended her speech with a heartfelt nod to Nichols, saying, "My love. Happy Pride." It was subtle, but many saw it as her most public acknowledgement of her personal life, a moment that resonated deeply with LGBTQ+ audiences. As an actress, Latifah has shattered typecasting, moving effortlessly between roles. Her Academy Award-nominated performance in Chicago, 2002, her gripping turn in Set It Off, the warmth she brought to Last Holiday, and her fearless portrayal of blues legend Bessie Smith in Bessie, a woman known for her bisexuality, showcase a performer unafraid to embrace complex characters who reflect themes of identity and liberation. Off-screen, she's just as powerful. Through her production company, Flavor Unit, Latifah has championed stories that highlight underrepresented voices, from socially conscious films to inclusive television programming. Her work reflects an unwavering commitment to representation, especially for communities often left in the shadows. Unlike those who view coming out as the ultimate act of liberation, Latifah's path has been one of fiercely guarded privacy. It's a choice that's often misunderstood, but one that broadens the definition of queer visibility. Her life is proof that activism can be lived quietly, without press conferences or headlines. Sometimes, simply living authentically, without apology or explanation, is revolutionary. Queen Latifah's impact is undeniable. She's paved the way for countless women, especially black women, to express themselves boldly, in art and in life. And in a world obsessed with labels, she stands as a reminder that authenticity doesn't always have to shout. Sometimes, the truest power lies in simply living your truth. Tyler Gregory Okonma. Tyler Gregory Okonma, better known to the world as Tyler, the Creator, isn't just a rapper. He's a cultural disruptor, a visionary who's unapologetically redrawn the boundaries of hip-hop and alternative culture. Born on March 6, 1991, in Ladera Heights, California, Tyler burst onto the scene as the mastermind behind the anarchic hip-hop collective Odd Future, WFWGKTA. With its unfiltered lyrics, chaotic energy, and fearless creativity, Odd Future rattled a genre often reluctant to change. But beneath the shock value and mischief was a young artist carrying a far more complex identity than anyone imagined. As Tyler's music evolved, so did his willingness to reveal himself. The transformation was subtle at first, then boldly undeniable. His critically acclaimed 2017 album Flower Boy contained lines like, "I've been kissing white boys since 2004, a jarring departure from rap's long-standing hypermasculine image." While Tyler has never put a neat label on his sexuality, he's openly embraced ambiguity, once shrugging off the idea of definition with the simple question, "Why label myself?" For him, fluidity isn't a side note, it's the core of his artistry and his life. In an industry still wrestling with homophobia, Tyler's approach was revolutionary. He didn't stage a traditional coming-out moment, he let his art speak. His 2019 Grammy-winning album Igor was widely read as a heartbreak story centered on another man, but Tyler refused to confirm or deny, choosing instead to leave space for interpretation. That refusal to conform turned him into an unlikely catalyst for change, opening conversations about vulnerability and identity in hip-hop. Beyond the music, Tyler has built an empire of pure self-expression. His fashion label Golf Wong, his wildly inventive Camp Flog Gnaw Festival, his ventures into directing, animation and high fashion. Everything he touches radiates his eclectic taste and unapologetic individuality. With bold colors, androgynous styling, and a DIY spirit, he's redefined what masculinity can look like. What makes Tyler's impact so profound is that he's not campaigning for visibility in the traditional sense. By simply existing, quirky, chaotic, brilliant, and unbothered by the need to fit in, he broadens the spectrum of what it means to be a queer black man in pop culture. He shows that queerness is not one size fits all, nor does it need to be presented in ways that make others comfortable. His resistance to definition is, in itself, an act of power. For young fans who see themselves in him, awkward, imaginative, fluid, Tyler isn't just an artist. He's proof that self-discovery can be messy, non-linear, and gloriously liberating. In the ever-shifting cultural conversation, Tyler, the creator, stands as a modern icon, redefining queerness, not through labels, but through freedom. Carol Denise Betts, known to the world as Niecy Nash, was born on February 23, 1970, in Palmdale, California. For decades, she lit up screens with her razor-sharp wit and boundless charm, cementing her place as a comedic powerhouse in Reno 911, where her quick-fire delivery and unforgettable characters made her impossible to ignore. But the story the public thought they knew was only half the truth. Behind the laughter, her journey toward self-discovery was still unfolding. A journey she would one day share unflinchingly with the world. Early on, Niecy was celebrated for her comedic timing, winning hearts in shows like Clean House and even flexing her dramatic muscles in When They See Us. Her role in Claws marked a striking shift, proving she could deliver layered, nuanced performances in gritty, emotionally charged worlds. But in 2020, it wasn't a role that had everyone talking, it was her life. That year, Nash introduced the world to singer Jessica Betts, the woman she would marry. The revelation stunned fans who had only known her through the lens of her previous marriages to men. Without spectacle or grand declarations, she embraced her truth, radiating authenticity and joy. Her openness became a quiet revolution, a message to black women everywhere that it's never too late to live unapologetically. Her love story wasn't about politics or branding, it was about clarity, connection, and the courage to choose happiness. In interviews and on social media, Niecy spoke candidly about meeting Jessica, describing a love that felt like home. She shifted public perception simply by living fully, becoming a symbol of hope for those still navigating their own identities. Off-screen, Niecy's creative evolution mirrored her personal one. She began producing projects centered on marginalized voices, telling stories that reflected the complexity and beauty of the Black experience. She took part in pride initiatives, community events, and heartfelt conversations that bridged generational gaps, sparking dialogues about identity and love later in life. Niecy Nash's transformation is powerful because it didn't happen at the dawn of fame, it came after she had already achieved it. By stepping into her truth with grace and dignity, she proved that identity isn't fixed and bravery can bloom at any moment. She didn't demand attention, she invited understanding. Today, Niecy stands not just as an actress or producer, but as a beacon, showing that the most life-changing revelations come when they are truly earned. Her story reaches far beyond Hollywood, reminding us all that love, authenticity, and reinvention are possible at every stage of life.
Frank Ocean.
Frank Ocean, born October 28, 1987, in Long Beach, California, is one of the most enigmatic and emotionally raw artists of his generation. Raised in New Orleans, he began his career quietly, penning songs for heavyweights like Beyoncé, Justin Bieber, and Brandy. But in 2011, his self-released mixtape Nostalgia, Ultra revealed a voice unlike any other. Melancholic yet soulful, weaving R&B with alternative storytelling that felt more like intimate diary entries than pop tracks. Then came a moment that would redefine not just his career, but the cultural landscape. In July 2012, days before the release of his breakthrough album Channel Orange, Frank posted a heartfelt open letter on Tumblr, revealing that his first love was a man. It was raw, poetic, and deeply vulnerable, released without a PR spin or media buildup. In a genre where open queerness among black male artists was still rare, Frank's quiet confession shattered barriers with unmatched grace. Instead of slowing his rise, the letter gave Channel Orange an even deeper emotional weight. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200, earned him a Grammy for Best Urban Contemporary Album, and solidified his place as a voice for a new era. Frank didn't turn his personal life into a spectacle. He refused labels, rarely addressed his sexuality in interviews, and let his music carry the truth. When his long-awaited follow-up Blonde dropped in 2016, it was another masterstroke of vulnerability. Songs like Self-Control and Godspeed blurred the lines of gender and time, speaking to the universal ache of love, longing, and loss. His refusal to conform to industry timelines, commercial formulas, or performative queerness has made him a blueprint for authenticity. Frank Ocean's influence reaches far beyond his own discography. He quietly opened the door for younger queer black artists, like Lil Nas X, Steve Lacy and Kalani, to step forward without fear. Yet, he remains elusive. He rarely gives interviews, avoids award shows, and guards his creative process like a secret. That mystique only strengthens his impact. Frank Ocean proved that a whisper can be revolutionary. In a world obsessed with spectacle, he changed the emotional language of R&B not with scandal or noise, but with a letter, a song, and the courage to be himself. And in that whisper, an entire generation found its voice.
Lena Waithe.
Lena Waithe, born Lena Diane Waithe on May 17, 1984, in Chicago, Illinois, has spent her career breaking barriers and rewriting the rules of who gets to tell black stories, and how they're told. From her early days writing for bold, comedic voices to becoming a force behind some of television's most groundbreaking work, Waithe has never shied away from challenging an industry that too often sidelines the narratives of marginalized communities. Her breakout came with the Thanksgiving episode of Master of None, a deeply personal story drawn from her own life. The episode didn't just earn her an Emmy in 2017, making her the first black woman to win the award for outstanding writing in a comedy series. It also cemented her place in television history. In that episode, she didn't merely craft a fictional arc, she reenacted her real life coming out to her mother, openly declaring her truth as a lesbian to the world. It was both intimate and revolutionary, shifting the portrayal of queer black women in mainstream media from the margins to the center. Following that triumph, Waithe created The Chi, a drama set on Chicago's South Side. Rather than leaning on tired tropes of urban struggle, she built a rich, layered world of multidimensional characters navigating love, community, class, and identity. In her stories, queerness is not a spectacle. It exists naturally, quietly, and unapologetically within the fabric of the narrative. That authenticity became her signature. Her creative reach expanded with projects like 20s and Queen and Slim, each exploring race, gender, sexuality, and intersectionality with both subtlety and power. Through her production company, Hillmangrad, she's made it her mission to elevate underrepresented voices, ensuring LGBTQ+ black stories aren't token gestures, but essential threads in the tapestry of her storytelling universes. When Waithe speaks, whether on college stages, at festivals, or in interviews, she frames her presence not as tokenism, but as responsibility. Having a platform, she has said, means making space for others. She's chosen to invest her energy not in chasing talk show celebrity, but in developing new directors, writers, and performers whose stories might otherwise remain untold. Her commitment extends beyond the screen. Waithe actively advocates for LGBTQ+ youth, particularly in black communities, creating safe spaces and offering representation for kids who might otherwise feel invisible. She resists the notion that activism must be loud or performative. Her change-making comes from building systems where inclusion is a default, not an afterthought. In an industry obsessed with big moments, what sets Waithe apart is how seamlessly her identity weaves into her work. There are no sensationalized coming-out scenes, just quiet truths that carry deep, lasting impact. From her Emmy-winning debut to her ongoing creation of inclusive worlds, Lena Waithe isn't just making television. She's architecting a future where black queer lives are ordinary, vibrant, and fully realized. She's not simply a storyteller anymore. She's a builder of worlds, crafting spaces where living authentically is the most powerful narrative of all. Montero Lamar Hill, better known to the world as Lil Nas X, was born on April 9, 1999, in Lithia Springs, Georgia. Long before he became a Grammy-winning music sensation, he was just a savvy teenager who knew how to bend the internet to his will. His first taste of fame didn't come from music at all, but from viral tweets and memes. That online genius would become the launchpad for one of the most unpredictable and game-changing careers in modern pop culture. His breakout hit, Old Town Road, started as a self-released track blending country twang with hip-hop swagger, two worlds that rarely collided. When it caught fire on TikTok in 2019 and soared to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, critics wrote him off as a one-hit novelty. But Lil Nas X wasn't here for quick fame. Old Town Road didn't just top the charts, it reigned for 19 consecutive weeks, smashing records and planting him firmly in the global spotlight. Then came the moment that changed everything. At the peak of the song's success during Pride Month, he casually came out as gay, not with a PR campaign, but with a single tweet: "Some of y'all already know, some of y'all don't care. Some of y'all not gone *** with me no more." He hinted at self-liberation in his lyrics, turning a simple post into a historic moment for queer visibility in hip-hop, a genre often criticized for its homophobia. The reaction was immediate. Would the industry embrace him or push him out? He didn't wait for permission. In 2021, he dropped his debut album Montero, bold, unapologetically queer, and filled with songs about love, lust, heartbreak, and freedom from a black gay man's perspective, something almost unheard of in mainstream music. The visuals hit just as hard. The video for Montero, Call Me By Your Name, lit the internet on fire with biblical imagery, a pole dance into hell, and that infamous lap dance for Satan. Conservatives fumed, but the cultural applause was deafening. For queer youth, especially those of color, it was a thunderclap, proof that you could be provocative, proud, and fully yourself. His award show performances, from the BET Awards to the Grammys, broke ground with male dancers, homoerotic choreography, and unapologetic expression. Behind the spectacle is a razor-sharp awareness of the power of visibility. Lil Nas X has spoken openly about growing up closeted, religious, and afraid. Now, he uses his platform to empower others walking the same difficult road. Beyond music, he's become a fashion disruptor and LGBTQ+ advocate, strutting red carpets in gender-fluid couture and clapping back at haters with biting humor. He's more than an entertainer, he's a cultural shift. Lil Nas X has taken control of his narrative, defied tradition, and redefined what black queerness can look like in the mainstream. His story is still unfolding, but one thing's for certain, he's not just breaking records, he's breaking barriers.
Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes, born March 7, 1964, in Portsmouth, Virginia, has earned her place as one of the most fearless and respected comedic voices in American entertainment. For over 3 decades, she's built a career on her razor-sharp wit, unapologetic honesty, and the courage to live life entirely on her own terms. She first made her mark behind the scenes, writing for The Chris Rock Show and winning an Emmy for her work. But it didn't take long for her to step into the spotlight herself. With a no-nonsense delivery and biting takes on politics, race, and gender, Sykes became a stand-up powerhouse. Her comedy was bold, fearless, and unfiltered, yet off-stage, she kept her private life closely guarded. That all changed in 2008. As California's Proposition 8 threatened to strip away marriage rights for same-sex couples, Sykes made a life-altering decision. Standing before a rally crowd in Las Vegas, she came out publicly as a lesbian. Something the entertainment world had long speculated about, but she had never confirmed. It wasn't a calculated media moment or a publicity stunt, it was a stand taken in the heat of a political fight. For a black lesbian comedian in the public eye, the risks were real.
But Sykes didn't flinch.
She declared her truth, passionately, proudly, and without apology, making her personal revelation a political act. Later that same year, she married her partner, French businesswoman Alex Needbalski, and the couple would go on to raise 2 children together. Unlike many celebrities who guard their home lives, Sykes often folds her family into her comedy, sharing hilarious, heartfelt glimpses of marriage and motherhood that normalize and celebrate queer family life in America. Her career has only grown richer with time. From scene-stealing roles in Curb Your Enthusiasm and The New Adventures of Old Christine to voice work in animated hits like Ice Age and Finding Dory, she's become a constant presence across genres. Her Netflix special Not Normal won praise for tackling racism, homophobia, and aging with her trademark comedic edge. Beyond the stage and screen, Sykes has been a relentless advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, racial justice, and women's equality. Speaking at rallies, lending her voice to campaigns, and showing up where it matters most. She doesn't present herself as flawless, she presents herself as real. And in an industry where coming out can still end careers, she's remained a trailblazer by refusing to separate her identity from her art. Wanda Sykes didn't just come out, she stood up, microphone in hand, while the world watched. She's proven that laughter can be a weapon for change, and that living your truth is the boldest punchline of all. Shantae Harris Dupart, known to the world as Debrat, was born on April 14, 1974, in Chicago, Illinois, and blazed her way into music history in the 1990s. With her groundbreaking 1994 debut album Functified, she became the first solo female rapper to go platinum, shattering barriers in a male-dominated industry and clearing the path for a new generation of women in hip-hop. Her signature look, baggy clothes, bandanas, and unapologetically bold rhymes, made her instantly recognizable, while her rapid-fire delivery and raw, infectious energy kept her at the top of the game through the 90s and early 2000s. Signed to Jermaine Dupri's So So Def label, Debrat collaborated with icons like Missy Elliott, Mariah Carey, and Ludacris, leaving her mark on an entire era of rap. But while she was loud and fearless on stage, her private life remained locked away from public view. Rumors about her sexuality swirled for years, but Debrat kept her truth to herself, until much later. Standing just as tall in her own arena, Brittany Griner has become more than a dominant force in women's basketball. She's a towering symbol of queer visibility in sports. From her commanding presence on the court to her quiet courage off it, Griner has redefined what it means to be both unapologetically athletic and openly gay at the highest levels of competition. Born on October 18, 1990, in Houston, Texas, she began turning heads early, her high school highlight reels filled with towering blocks, thunderous dunks, and moments that hinted at history in the making. At Baylor University, she didn't just win. She transformed the game, leading her team to a national title, breaking records, and reshaping expectations of what a center could be. But behind the trophies and headlines was a young woman navigating her identity under the relentless glare of the spotlight. Brittney Griner didn't wait for the safe moment. In her early 20s, at the height of her rise, she came out publicly as gay, defying a sports world where many LGBTQ+ athletes still felt forced into silence. While others waited until retirement to share their truth, Griner did it mid-ascent, transforming herself from a basketball star into a fearless trailblazer. From the moment she entered the WNBA as a top draft pick and multiple-time All-Star, she refused to hide. She spoke openly about the homophobia she faced, not just from fans or strangers, but from coaches and institutions that once tried to mute her voice. Instead of shrinking back, she stood taller, using her platform as a beacon for visibility and change. Her personal life made headlines too. Her marriage to fellow athlete Glory Johnson, though short-lived and complicated, was groundbreaking. Two high-profile female athletes marrying publicly was almost unheard of at the time. Years later, she found love again, continuing to live openly with dignity and unwavering strength. Off the court, Griner has become a powerful advocate for LGBTQ+ rights, mental health awareness, and inclusivity in sports. She's spoken candidly about bullying, about being different, and about the loneliness of growing up without seeing herself reflected anywhere. Today, countless young athletes look to her as living proof that authenticity and success are not mutually exclusive. Her resilience has been tested time and again, not only as a Black queer woman in a high-profile career, but through deeply personal challenges that have unfolded on the world stage. Each time, she's emerged stronger, transforming hardship into fuel for her fight for justice and truth. In a world where many still feel pressured to hide who they are to achieve greatness, Brittney Griner rewrites the playbook. Her success isn't in spite of her truth, it's built on it. She proves that courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes it rebounds. Sometimes it dunks. And sometimes, it wins with grace.
Keenan Lonsdale.
Keenan Lonsdale was born on December 19, 1991, in Sydney, Australia, a city that would one day feel far too small for his talent and vision. He first caught the public's eye as a dancer on the hit series Dance Academy, but it didn't take long for him to leap from the studio floor to center stage. Soon, he was captivating audiences as Wally West, better known as Kid Flash on The Flash, and later stealing hearts as Bram in the 2018 hit film Love, Simon. On screen, his charm was magnetic. Off-screen, it was his fearless authenticity that made him unforgettable. Lonsdale has openly defined himself as queer and pansexual, terms he uses to embrace a fluid understanding of attraction and identity. As a Black, queer Australian navigating multiple cultural spaces, he's given visibility to those who often feel invisible at the intersections of race, sexuality, and nationality. In Love, Simon, his portrayal of Bram offered audiences something Hollywood had rarely delivered before: an authentically queer Black male love interest in a mainstream teen romance. The film's gentle handling of queer coming-of-age stories was widely celebrated, but Bram's quiet presence was revolutionary in its own right. Keenan infused the role with empathy, warmth, and honesty, qualities that run through all of his creative work. Beyond acting, he has carved out a music career blending pop, R&B, and electronic influences. His singles and EPs explore themes of self-acceptance, love, and liberation, allowing him to share his vulnerability and truth beyond the screen. In interviews and public appearances, he speaks candidly about mental health, self-discovery, and embracing the complexities of identity. Keenan's style, mixing traditionally masculine and feminine elements, isn't for shock value. It's a declaration of freedom, a refusal to be boxed in by labels. He also lends his voice and influence to LGBTQ+ and racial justice causes, championing campaigns that uplift marginalized youth. As a speaker, he leads with compassion and sincerity, encouraging others to honor their authentic selves, even when it means breaking convention. What makes his journey so powerful is its sincerity. Keenan doesn't try to be a savior or a symbol. He stands as a peer, someone who's wrestled with conflicting identities and emerged with his truth intact. His impact isn't loud or performative, it's steady, genuine, and deeply human. Whether on stage, on screen, or in the studio, Keenan Lonsdale calls for inclusivity in every space he touches. His story is still unfolding, but it already matters. In an industry where image often overshadows authenticity, he proves that the boldest form of excellence is living unapologetically. And that raises the bigger question: in the spotlight, what does visibility truly cost? Does Hollywood still punish those who live their truth? Share your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more inspiring stories, only on Starscope.